Disclaimer, the comments made in this video are intended for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to offend anyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into another takedown by Bill Maher of woke leftists on live TV, where nothing is safe from his sharp wit, so buckle up. First up, Bill Maher says people melting down over a White House ballroom need to calm down, pick real battles, and stop treating renovations like a national crisis.
Like, I see so many people are upset about him building a ballroom. I could give a I don't give a about his
paying for it, whether you voted for him or not.
No, we're not paying for it. It's private. First of all, even if we did,
well, it's already bulldozed. So anytime you spend burning up about it, it's already happened. You have to decide what are you going to do in response to it.
And it's like not the thing I want to concentrate on. There
Okay,
are so many bigger things that are consequential that I don't like him doing. And they tried to gin everybody up about, well, they're knocking down the White House. They've changed the White House before. And the White House does actually need a ballroom. You know, we're a big country. We were having state dinners and people were like under a tent. I've had better parties than that. So I am not, but I still do think you have to choose your battles. You have to pick what you get upset.
Yes, so
Bill Maher basically tells outrage culture to take a number and sit down. A ballroom renovation, that's the hill you're dying on? He argues that while people are busy screaming about bulldozers and ballrooms, the real, truly important stuff slides by unnoticed because panic is easier than priorities. Next, Bill Maher explains why loving America and refusing to trash it non-stop is exactly why the woke left can't stand him.
One thing we totally agree on is, I love America.
Amen.
That's my team.
That's my team too.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And I don't give any quarter to the leftists who just constantly downgrade America. It's another reason why they hate me. I mean, this is what I said to him your father in the text. It's like, you know, if I'm so captured by the lunatic left, why did they hate me too?
God, does everyone hate you, Bill?
Everyone who's not fair. Yes, exactly.
You're all right.
That's how you know you're doing the right thing.
Maybe that's true. Maybe
when
that's true.
When they both have an issue with you.
Yeah.
That's also why the people who like me a lot.
Yeah.
From both sides. And the people in the middle who just have had enough of people in their bubbles.
Bill Maher declares his loyalty to a radical concept in modern politics, liking America. Apparently that alone is enough to get you hated by the left, but applauded by everyone who just wants the yelling to stop. Then Bill Maher calls out an awards show crowd for refusing to even condemn a political assassination because the victim was on the wrong team.
The Emmys, would it have killed someone to get up there, since they all want to talk about their politics, would it kill somebody to get up there, not give a speech about how much they like Charlie Kirk, just to say, we had a political assassination this week, and that's wrong, and they would have been booed off the stage because he was on the wrong team. So you're not even allowed to say that. Can you imagine if a left-wing person was assassinated that week? The whole show would have been about that. Is that not just true? Can't you admit that?
I think the Charlie Kirk assassination needs to be reframed as an issue of how our democracy actually functions and survives. We cannot be assassinating people who are different from us, who believe different things, full stop. Charlie Kirk's assassination is as bad for Democrats as it should be as it is for Republicans. It is not okay.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
And everybody needs to get on that same page.
Here, Maher skewers the absurdity of selective outrage. A political assassination happens, but public condemnation depends entirely on the victim's politics. In other words, apparently murder is fine, so long as you cheer for the right team, and Emmy speeches are now performance art in hypocrisy. After that, Bill Maher lays out how high taxes, endless regulations, and cost of living are driving people out of blue states in massive numbers.
California is projected to lose 3 seats, New York 2, also going to lose a seat, Minnesota, Oregon, Rhode Island, Illinois, all blue states. Who's getting these? Texas, Florida, Idaho, and Utah. I mean, this looks like game over, you know, and the reason why people are voting with their feet is a lot of what your book is about.
Yeah,
taxes and regulation. I certainly been screaming about it forever. I did 3 years with a sign here that said, how long is it going to take me to get my solar hooked up? 3 years. Talking about it on television. in this state. You couldn't do it. This state has almost 400,000 regulations. I just put in a new roof because the fire, I thought, oh, let's get a roof that's not going to burn up. 2 inspections. Why are you inspecting my roof? It's my roof. If it falls on me, that's my problem. And we're taxed more than any other state. People are leaving these kind of states for places where they're not, they feel the heavy breath of government on them. It's not that hard for Democrats to understand this, but they seem to be incapable of doing anything about it.
So we poll this. They're leaving on cost of living. That's all part of it. They're leaving because they can't afford homes. And it's a huge, not just political problem, those numbers you just gave. After 2030, if that holds, a Democrat could win every state Kamala Harris won, win Michigan, win Pennsylvania, and I'm just blanking on the third blue wall state, win Michigan, win Pennsylvania, and win Wisconsin, and lose the presidential election, right? The blue wall would no longer be enough for them to win. And you have to take that.
You mean they could win those 3 states and still
lose the presidential? That's how bad it is, right?
Watching people leave states over taxes and regulations isn't surprising. It feels like everyday life is becoming a survival game. High costs, red tape, and endless inspections aren't just statistics. They're reasons why voters literally pack up and vote with their feet. Following that, Bill Maher blasts anyone who mocked or justified a political shooting and says the real divide isn't left versus right, it's pro-violence versus anti-violence.
This guy was shot, and he's been on our show, been on my podcast. I talk to him, I like everybody. I talk to everybody. I think I'm glad I took that approach. But he was shot under a banner that said, "Prove me wrong," because he was a debater. And too many people think the way to do that, to prove you wrong, is to just eliminate you from talking altogether. So the people who mocked his death or justified it, I think you're gross, I have no use for you. The people who are saying now we're at war, I have no use for you. So my first question, true or false? I think the real war is not between left or right, it's for the people it's between the people on both sides who want a war and the people who don't.
Maher frames the ultimate true-false quiz. The war isn't left versus right. It's humans who escalate everything into battle versus humans who, choose not to. And if you're cheering for violence, congratulations, you failed the civility test. Meanwhile, Bill Maher fires back at being called racist by pointing out that ignoring gender apartheid in the Middle East while screaming social justice is pure hypocrisy.
Last week, sitting here was Anna Kasparian.
That got around.
So tomorrow, Anna, you got to go live in the Middle East. Where would you live? And
Well,
where do you think you'd
sure-
be comfortable in that dress?
I'm sure it would not be comfortable in this dress in any of the various Middle Eastern countries that have been destabilized by
You're not
United States.
You're not really blaming it on Whitey.
Her co-host, Cenk, tweeted, "I think Bill Maher is the biggest racist in American media."
Anybody who thinks they're a social justice activist, which these people do, and your number one issue isn't gender apartheid in the Muslim world, you're a joke. You're a joke. It's so obvious where the biggest amount of oppression is. You people who hate oppression so much. If you're okay with keeping women in beekeeper suits, including in 100-degree weather, and this is just something that okay, well, whatever. And I'm the racist. First of all, Islam is not a race. It's an idea, it's an ideology. People of all races follow it. It's just more fundamentalist than other religions in this century. That would not have been the case in the 14th century. But we don't live then, we live now. The fact that this isn't your biggest issue as people who hate oppression, you're a joke.
Pointing out that screaming about oppression loses credibility if you ignore the obvious and extreme examples happening elsewhere. According to him, being anti-oppression isn't a bumper sticker. It's about paying attention to the actual horrors, not just the performative ones. Later on, Bill Maher compares being labeled fascist to having ugly political roots, reminding everyone that what matters is where a party stands today.
She is the Prime Minister of Italy. Liberal media does call her a fascist every time they can. Her party has roots in fascism, I always say, and the Democratic Party has roots in slavery and Jim Crow. And not that long ago, Robert Byrd was the Senate Majority Leader in my lifetime, and he was in the Klan. So it's not a matter where your roots are, it's where you are now.
Blaming someone for their party's past is like getting mad at a kid for their grandparents' fashion choices. If we're serious about politics, we should focus on what people are actually doing today, not whether their ancestors belong to an unsavory club. At the same time, Bill Maher admits liberals have become more snobbish and intolerant than conservatives when it comes to living around people who disagree with them.
One of the things we have to correct in America is people should not have to feel bad about living in any part of the country where their politics isn't the majority. And that works both ways.
I agree.
Like, you didn't feel comfortable there, and that's wrong. And look, I never stop ragging on liberals and woke people, not liberals. I'm a liberal. These people are different. For just being snobs. This is the I won't eat with you at Thanksgiving people. This is the no contact thing. But, you know, lots of liberals wouldn't be comfortable at a NASCAR rally either. I mean, there are places where but I will say, and this is something I'm going to say Friday night, the liberals are worse about this. I will admit it, and we have to look in the mirror on that one. We are just worse at the snobby thing, at the, I don't know any conservatives who don't at least talk.
Right.
You know? Now, maybe that's because you won. Maybe that's because it's easy.
There was a time where we didn't.
And you still came. It's
yes,
true.
There was a time we didn't.
They're happy warriors. I remember that term when I was a kid. Like, that was somebody who was like, and that's what Republicans usually are. They're happy warriors. They come there. And you see, I don't pull my punches. They take their shots like a man.
Apparently, living somewhere with different politics is now a full-blown identity crisis. Some people treat Thanksgiving like a hostage negotiation, refusing to sit with anyone who disagrees. Maybe the real problem isn't political difference. It's that Americans have turned snobbery into a competitive sport. From there, Bill Maher draws a sharp line between liberalism and woke ideology, arguing that modern wokeness actually dismantles classic liberal values.
Liberal is a different animal than woke. You can be woke with all the nonsense that now implies, but don't say that somehow it's an extension of liberalism.
Right.
Because it's most often actually an undoing of liberalism. So you can have your points of view and your positions on these things, but don't try to piggyback on what I've always believed. I have always believed, as liberals do, for example, in a colorblind society, that the goal is to not see race at all anywhere for any reason.
Yes.
That's what liberals always believed all the way through. Obama, going back, Kennedy, everybody, Martin Luther King. That's not what the woke believe. They believe race is first and foremost the thing you should always see everywhere. Again, you can have that position, but don't say that's a liberal position. You're doing something very different.
It's a funny world where liberalism is about erasing arbitrary divisions, yet modern wokeness insists on highlighting them at every turn. If you actually believe in classic liberal values, equality, colorblindness, freedom, you can't also be woke. Then Bill Maher uses North Korea, Poland, and Venezuela to deliver a brutal reality check on socialism versus capitalism.
Here's capitalist South Korea at night from space. Here's socialist North Korea. Yeah. In 1990, Venezuela was wealthier than Poland. But then Poland, finally free of Soviet-style economics, went all in on capitalism. And now their economy is as big as Japan. And people there have high wages, low inflation, cars, vacations, homes. Meanwhile, Venezuela traded capitalism for Hugo Chavez's Socialism for the 21st Century, which turned out to be like socialism in the last century, or any century. It turned one of Latin America's richest countries into one of its poorest. Low wages, high inflation, shortages, outages, 8 million people fleeing. If you think New York can somehow reinvent this wheel, you're in for a rude awakening. Zoran can't make your wishes come true. You're thinking of Zoltar.
Looking at the numbers, Poland's economy has surged ahead with steady growth and strong job markets, while Venezuela has become infamous for runaway prices, shrinking incomes, and basic shortages. You can debate ideology all day, but the lived experience of people on the ground tells a pretty stark story. Afterwards, Bill Maher and his guests talk about how today's Democrats have become colder, harsher, and far less tolerant than the party they grew up with.
Republicans have been very kind to me. From the beginning, when Bobby was running as a Democrat, they weren't mean.
No.
And they never have been.
No.
And I can't say that for the Democrats.
I agree. It's sad because it's not the Democrats we grew up with.
Right, yeah.
That's the difference that people don't, I think, see. They're like, why did you turn on the Democrats? Well, first of all, I didn't. Like I said, we voted for the same person. But I'm not going to pretend I don't notice how different they are.
Yeah.
How mean they've become.
Very mean.
It's funny how parties evolve. You can still vote for the same candidate, but now the Democrats you grew up with are like a meaner, sharper-edged sequel. Their attitude has changed, and some people notice. Moving on, Bill Maher calls out liberals for defending equality and freedom, except when confronting societies where those rights are restricted.
Liberals need to stand up for liberal principles. This is what I said on last week's show. Obviously, I got a lot of hate for it, but all I'm saying is that liberal principles like freedom of speech, freedom to practice any religion you want without fear of violence, freedom to leave a religion, equality for women, equality for minorities, including homosexuals. These are liberal principles that liberals applaud for, but then when you say in the Muslim world this is what's lacking, then they get upset.
Yeah.
It's curious how defending liberty can trigger backlash. Want women and minorities to have basic rights globally. Suddenly, you're the problem. Maybe liberalism works best when it's consistent, not just a moral high five for causes close to home. And finally, Bill Maher slams the idea that cutting off family members over politics is mental health, saying real healing requires uncomfortable conversations, not isolation.
The chief psychiatric resident at Yale University, Amanda Calhoun, recently told Joy Reid it's okay to cut off family members if they voted for Trump and tell them, I'm not going to be around you this holiday. Oh, how pure. It's like not letting certain people sit with you on the bus. She also said that it shouldn't be automatic that family members think they're entitled to your time. She said that's just a societal norm. Family. Who do they think they are? Family? I mean, think about that. A mental health professional advising people to isolate during the holidays. And don't forget to drink too much and put on weight. And this Thanksgiving, before the big meal, remember to take turns saying what you're hateful about. You know who I really wouldn't want to have Thanksgiving dinner with? This overly educated, i.e. extremely stupid, ivory tower academic. But I would, because if we ever want this nation to heal, this is what we have to do. Force ourselves to reach out and find out why someone feels the way they do and make the choices they make without prejudging them a monster.
According to some experts, family gatherings now require hazard pay if someone voted differently. Maher's take, isolation isn't therapy, it's cowardice. Real reconciliation is uncomfortable, messy, and yes, probably involves arguing over cranberry sauce without declaring a political victory. There you have it. Bill Maher sparing no one and exposing the absurdities of modern woke culture. If you want more sharp commentary and laughs, subscribe and drop a comment telling us which clip you enjoyed the most.